Hello, and welcome back to Katawa Shoujo. Last time we went and discovered that Ren is having an existential crisis, and Emmy likes running, and probably Emmy's mom is having an affair. Maybe. I'm not sure. She said she had to go meet a friend, in quotation marks, and then it was a little weird and suspicious. I'm gonna say that, and then it's gonna turn out later that something tragic happened, and I'm gonna feel bad. But as of right now, I don't feel bad, and she's probably having an affair, or definitely meeting with someone in a romantic sense. And we're at the art club now. Today's art club meeting is currently on hold while everyone waits for Nomiya to show up. I take this time to try and explain my theory about Yamaku to Rin. Oh god. I've tried to figure out what exactly about this school feels so special to me. That concept I unsuccessfully tried to explain to Yuko the other day. It's still difficult, but the track meet and the time I've spent observing my fellow students have helped my ideas mature a little. Have you noticed that people talk all the time? I can't really explain it, but once again, as I try to explain my observation, I'm struggling for words. The student body is heavily clicked, and I'm only now beginning to make sense of the intricate grouping and popularity networks, and yet the feeling of being part of a group is stronger here than I remember in being in my old schools. I'm trying to say that this school isn't like other schools, or at least the students aren't, even after discounting the obvious. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what you mean. Oh well, whatever then. I want to pursue the issue, but at this point Nomiya arrives. The teacher is wiping sweat from his forehead with a handkerchief and breathing rather heavily. He quickly glances over the room, then settles down a bit. Hello, apologies for being late. Is everyone present? Good! I must confess I haven't really planned anything for today, as I have been extremely busy lately, but I'm sure we can come up with something entertaining. Anyone have any suggestions? I was thinking we could have a discussion circle, since we haven't had one in a while. I, at least, found the last one magnificently enjoyable. There are some murmurs here and there, but nobody raises their voice in support or against Nomiya. We could delve into various movements of art, or does someone have a good topic in mind? Come on, throw it out there. It doesn't matter if it's silly or odd, we can always cook up something interesting. Nobody seems to be brave enough to make such a suggestion. As the awkward silence refuses to be broken, I lift my hand in the air. Ho ho, our newest friend seems to have something up on his mind. Speak up, my boy, speak up! Well, I don't know about anyone else, but I've always wondered why art exists in the first place. My voice trails off, a silence sets in the room, and nobody makes a follow-up on my meek suggestion. Then the teacher bursts in laughter. Oh, excellent! Very good indeed. Right out of the gate with the big one, huh? Fabulous! Chuckling, he shifts some papers around on his desk for a few moments. When he's done, he appears to have made some sort of decision. Very well then, let us run with this and see where it gets us, shall we? Oh my, even an old fogey like me gets excited when such delicious enthusiasm is present. Oh my, indeed. Oh God. Just notice his face. That's not an appropriate face to make in high school. Let me gather my thoughts a moment so I can figure out a good starting point for everyone. For some reason, the teacher seems to be almost literally bursting with excitement. He scribbles a few things down on a loose sheet of paper, then cleans his glasses with the handkerchief. He strikes a pose, then freezes for an overly dramatic, artistic pause, then spans what must be a half a minute. It's so quiet I could hear a pin drop. First, let's come up with a few questions that we want answered, such as, what is art, and why does art exist? Anyone have any questions that might be related? The boy with sunglasses pipes up almost immediately. His voice is soft and quiet, and I have a hard time making out what he says. What defines an artist? After him, another question comes up. If I fill a cardboard box with water and call it art, is it art? Technically, since Duchamp said that doing that is art, not, I mean, it can be. Everyone laughs at that, even the teacher. Great, wonderful, all of these. Let me start by saying that there is not a clear issue by any means, and as such, I'm not going to give any answer to you. I'm only going to speak from my own perspective. Scholars have argued about these sorts of questions since time immemorable, and there has never really been a broadly applicable consensus reached. There are, however, some qualities that most tend to generally agree upon. Hopefully, you all should find these acceptable as well. In short, art defines itself. It simply cannot be contained to a definition from the outside, since the boundaries of art expand and contract from forces within. Every second, someone somewhere comes up with something completely outrageous that challenges any and all preconceptions. The core reason for this is that rather than the rational side of the mind, art appeals to the intuition, the instinct, the primal. You would find it very hard to explain why exactly it is that you enjoy some particular style or piece, no? He doesn't wait for a response before continuing. This is exactly why. So, art is the sort of wild, uncontrollable thing that lurks somewhere deep in our subconscious. Now, why does it exist? Nomiya apparently expects someone to pipe up with a guess, but as nobody dares to interrupt his inspired speech, he continues. It was a trick question. You see, art also validates itself. Generally speaking, you might say that art exists for no other purpose than itself. It's something that exists merely to leave a mark in history. Whoops. It's the defiance of a mortal against the face of darkness. As was once said, art is truly the proof of our existence. You all should know that human culture and civilization are tightly tied to the existence of art. That is kinda true. Then what about artists? What drives a man to dedicate his life to a thing so fickle and mysterious that it even defies definition? There are as many answers for this as there are artists, but if I had to put it into words, an artist doesn't make art because he can, but because he must. Nomiya takes a pause and his gaze sweeps over his audience, eyes flaring with passion. It is obvious that art touches the very soul of each and every human being in one way or another. So if you were given a chance to connect with your fellow man in such a fundamental way, how could you not? There's a poem I'm very much fond of and shall recite the most well-known part of it to you now. I feel that, for me personally, of all possible things, it captures best the essence of what it means to be an artist. Nomiya leans against the desk as he clears his throat in preparation. Looking at some distant place, he utters the words in the heavy afternoon air with his soft basso voice. To see a world in a grain of sand, and a heaven in a wildflower. Hold infinity in the palm of your hand, and eternity in an hour. There is a solemn and unbelievably awkward silence after he finishes reciting the short fragment. Nobody dares speak a word. Nomiya clears his throat again. To be an artist is to see the world in a grain of sand. You see, dear children, without art, there would not be much to live for in this world. It is a most profound thing. He is clearly touched by this motion. I almost expect to see a lone tear rolling down his rough cheek, but it never comes. He's too tough to cry. We stay hydrated. Hydration police. I turn to Rin and whisper to her. So, how is this a discussion circle? She shrugs nonchalantly back at me. The previous ones were the same. To his credit, Nomiya does try to get some debate going, but the club seems to be reluctant to comply. I feel a bit guilty about opening my mouth. Maybe we would have been spared from this. As the meeting comes to a close, I realize we haven't once touched any paint or pens today, and I feel somewhat disappointed. Nomiya suddenly appears next to us. He seems to be all fired up from the speech he delivered. His cologne smells musky and saccharine? Saccharin. That sounds correct. At the same time, I don't know what saccharin smells like though. Can I have an example? Can someone in the comments give me an example of a smell that is saccharin? Sriracha? Sriracha? Does it smell like sriracha? And at the same time, giving me an instant headache, even though I'm not sensitive to perfumes. He is looking at Rin like a hungry wolf. Don't eat Rin! Don't eat her! She's my friend! Tezuka, do you remember Mr. Seonji, who visited us at the festival? I think so. I'm going to tell you something amazing! The thing is... Oh, I thought that... Did that say Mrs.? I said Mr., I think. The thing is, she's a very well-known gallerist around here. It turns out I might be able to get her to consider having some of your work put on display. Ooh. He ends his sentence with a dramatic gesture. It seems he's expecting Rin to show some sort of joyous, shocked reaction at such grand news, but she just stares at him blankly. Magnificent, isn't it? This could be a real chance for us to get ahead, girl. But... Now, I know what you're about to say. Yes, it wouldn't be a simple affair, but I think this is an absolutely fantastic opportunity. Frankly, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we even made it big. This could be the first step, and then when the word is out, we strike while the iron is hot. Right, Nakai? Yeah, it does sound pretty great if you're into that kind of thing. See, we should definitely not let this one pass, am I right? I don't really. Rin seems to be troubled for some reason. I can't figure out why. What Nomiya is saying does indeed sound like a possibly great thing. She looks pretty down though and confused. I've never seen her like this. So, what do you think? Rin looks up to her teacher's glowing face, then back down at her desk. I'll think about it. Nomiya is at last taken slightly aback by Rin's lack of superlative delight. Then he smiles widely at her and gently pats her head. Good girl. It's a little, condescending, I must say, Nomiya. The club meeting is finally over, and I lazily collect my things and help clean up. I start feeling exhausted for some reason. There isn't much to do, however, so it's over quickly. I catch up to Rin, who left the club room just a moment earlier. So we're walking down the stairs to the ground floor while I try to go over Nomiya's passionate speech about art, and Rin seems to be lost in thought. Not an unusual state for her, I've learned, but something about her expression makes me feel uneasy. Any for your thoughts? That'd be too cheap. You're just overpricing your thoughts. I wouldn't be able to sell them anyway. I'm not sure what I'm thinking yet. That'd be fraud too, like stealing a candy from a baby. That's theft, not fraud. I have to think about what I think. Is this about what the teacher said, getting your work put on display and all that? She doesn't answer, but stops in her tracks as we reach the lobby. We're the only people around, so it's very quiet. Footsteps echo from a few floors up as someone hurries along the hallway. I think I'm going to go somewhere else where... I think she really is troubled. Want company? I can't promise much help with the thinking, but it's not like I have much else to do, and I'd supposed to do some light exercise. If you like. Rin leads me outside to the wall behind the dormitories. There is a small back gate there, made from some wrought iron as the main gate. From the same wrought iron, not some wrought iron. Blah, 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 blah. It leads to the shadowy woodland park behind the school. Seems safe. The gate is rusty, as if it hasn't been much use. It hasn't seen much use. However, it sits open, so we pass through. It's not forbidden for students to leave the grounds, but somehow I feel a little uneasy. A path leads deeper into the forest. Tall zelkova and maple trees rustle in the wind, their canopies creating patches of chill air hanging in the places where the shadows fall. The forest smells strongly of earth, as forests do. I almost feel cold, even though the midsummer day is as hot as ever. Rin trudges ahead like a sleepwalker, sure-footed but with no apparent destination in mind. Her thoughts seem to be somewhere else. I follow a few steps behind, taking more care to watch where my feet land. The path follows the land uphill at a low angle, sometimes making little detours downhill before climbing back upward. The muted brown and gray trunks line the path on both sides, peppered with ferns and other undergrowth. Not overgrowth, undergrowth. After a little while, I start getting worried. The path is still wide and clear, so there's no chance of getting lost, but it doesn't look like we have any particular destination. There's nothing wrong with a bit of aimless wandering around, but I don't want to go so far that I get too tired to walk back. I'm starting to get a little winded and my legs feel heavy. I want to stop and get a chance to catch my breath and rest my legs, but Rin keeps on going. Where are we going? Or are we going anywhere at all? Worry tree. I see. So what exactly is the worry tree? It's just a tree like this. She stops in front of a particularly large maple that might or might not be the worry tree. Its lush green leaves sway lightly in the breeze, blowing through the small clearing we entered. I guessed as much. There are people who believe you must come here to wallow in misery. If you are miserable, only by people I mean me, and the tree isn't really called anything. So, if you're miserable, you talk to a tree about it? No, what? You can't talk to trees. What do you think I am, crazy? No, I didn't mean it like that. Or maybe you talk to trees. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say you were crazy, even though you probably are if you talk to trees. I wouldn't recommend it in either case. People will think you are a weird person. No, just forget it. She looks mildly confused, for which I don't blame her at all. She tilts her head a little to the side, expression melting back to her usual one. Alright, I'm good at forgetting things. So why are we here? Are you miserable then? I can't read the expression she makes. I hate how bad I am at interpreting Rin's mood. She doesn't answer right away, as if she herself isn't quite certain of her own mood. The blank stare changes into a more difficult expression as she shuffles her weight around. Finally coming to a conclusion, Rin shrugs her shoulders. I've grown to seriously dislike that gesture. It doesn't mean anything. Maybe. I just feel kind of like I'm sinking underwater. I don't know what I should do. I don't know where I should go, that's all. Maybe it's not a big deal, but I thought walking might help. Kind of like if I go somewhere, I would know where I should go. I don't really know if it did. It really would have made sense if walking had helped to decide where to go. So you don't want to get an exhibition wait, how do you say that word? No, that's correct. Try to get an exhibition, or rather you don't know if you do, can't decide. Rin doesn't say anything for a while, arranging her thoughts in silence. The quiet is broken by a bird's song from somewhere in the treetops, followed by rustling leaves as the bird takes flight. Maybe. I'm not sure if I can have a thing like that. So far, I've only painted for myself. I don't think I could have my things on display the way I am now. This me couldn't do it. Her reason sounds like a weak excuse. I make my trademark frown, but she doesn't notice it. I don't get it. The teacher certainly thinks you could. I don't think he'd suggest it otherwise. Sounds like he's calling in favors from his friends, too. I know. He's really done a lot for me, but this might be too much. Becoming someone who can do it might be pretty hard. Maybe I couldn't do it at all. He can't do it for me if I let him try. I'd just sink deeper and deeper. Rin stands in front of a large maple and turns away from me. I want to close the few feet of distance between us and, I don't know. My irritation is suddenly gone and I start feeling sympathetic to her. I know exactly how you feel. Well, maybe I don't, but still. I think I haven't felt like I was actually in control of my own life this whole year. I'm just helplessly going along with the flow. Like coming here to this school, I didn't really choose it myself, and I certainly didn't choose this time of my life to learn that I have this condition. I still can't casually say that word aloud. It's like, yeah, it's exactly like being underwater, like I can't even breathe. Ren turns to face me again, a sad expression on her face. Is that why you look so sad all the time? I don't want to look sad like you. Do I look to you like you look to me? I don't look sad all the time. I just don't know what I should be feeling. What kind of face should I be making? Me neither. Do I look sad now? Yes. Oh. I disagree. I think she looks sad. Not really. You look like you always do, I think. But I'm sinking. I should try to float up. I should try to float up like a rubber duck. Quack, quack, all yellow and creepy. Are they creepy? I think they're cute. I have to think for a few seconds about which direction I should pursue in this conversation, then I realize that it doesn't matter. You think rubber ducks are creepy? You don't? I think they look very creepy. Everything that has eyes but isn't alive is very disturbing. Like rubber ducks and reflections in mirrors. That sure is a take. I don't think I've ever considered anything with eyes to be creepy that isn't alive. What about stuffed animals? They're cute. She plops down on the forest bed leaning on the maple she named the worry tree. After wondering what to do for a minute, I sit down too, 3 feet apart from her. And we white faded to this picture of a branch. The forest envelops us in its embrace, and its stillness falls upon the two of us. We sit there without speaking for a long time. I can literally feel the time passing. Patches of sunlight litter the small clearing in a pattern that echoes the maple canopies. One of them falls directly on me, warming me all the way to the bone. I wonder what I could do for myself, and maybe for Ren. For now, I just keep watching her from this distance. Sometimes she cranes her neck all the way back so much that it looks almost painful, and stares up at the small patch of the sky visible past the canopy of the worry tree. Sometimes she just stares blankly ahead as if seeing something just beyond her reach. She keeps whispering to herself, but so quietly that I can't hear her, even though I'm sitting right next to her. I only see her lips moving, like she was in the middle of a distant dream. I realize that right now, I no longer feel any of the intense loneliness I feel at night, just before falling asleep. I might be more like Ren than I thought. I can either give up and stay submerged under the weight of all the crap in my life, or try to change myself for the better. Like a rubber duck! Her decision is different, yet the same. And unlike her, I know for sure that I can't stay like this forever. I have to change. I assume I want to say I want to be more like Rin. If I want to do the Rin route. I want to be more like Rin. Rin could probably do it. Even though she seems to doubt herself, I have no doubts about her strength. She could do it, even if she can't. Sir, that sentence doesn't make no damn sense. It makes me feel a little better too, and I lean back against the tree, breathing out deeply as if for the first time in a long time. I thought it was gonna go boo boo boo, boo boo boo, boo boo boo, since apparently this game has no problem just leaving a conversation in the middle of just something. We stay that way in the same clearing until the angle of the sun changes and the chilly shadows deepen. No longer warm where we sit, we leave the forest, returning along the same path we took coming in. It doesn't seem like Ren has come to a decision. I wonder if it was a bad idea for me to come along. It's alright, I don't mind. I'm sure the trees and dirt and rocks won't mind either. Did you mind? No, not at all. I think it helped me too. While we walk back toward the dormitories, the sky is changing to a deep ultramarine. The first summer stars twinkle softly from between spots in the canopy, barely visible like tiny fireflies. I've become very self-conscious about Ren's presence. Okay. I haven't thought much about girls since things fell apart with Iwanako, not Ku. This is kind of the same situation as then, but to be honest, I don't think it really counts for much, not with Ren. And yet, it feels good walking next to her, even if it isn't anything more than this. At first, I think Ren agitated me quite a bit with her unpredictable behavior, but recently I feel I haven't had to be on my toes so much. I've managed to let myself go a little, and it makes me feel satisfied, even though ultimately I think it's more thanks to Ren than myself. She seems to be disinterested in a huge number of things, but something in her makes me try harder than I normally would. It's not that I want to impress her. I think that truly impressing Ren would take near superhuman effort just because of how she is. Instead, it's because there is this relentless feeling inside of me that I shouldn't let Ren down. It's really weird. I wonder why I started thinking like that. I don't even know what sort of expectations she has about pretty much anything. Or how could I let her down? Ren has this unassuming air about her, and she doesn't really talk about stuff very often. Even today's confession of her self-doubt caught me a little bit off guard. I feel like I want to talk with her more. I want to talk more with her. The realization suddenly dawns on me that Ren is basically the only person I talk to nowadays, apart from whatever I have to endure from Shizune, Misha, or Kenji. I feel slightly depressed. Boy, do you have antidepressants? I'm not gonna get on you for being sad. You're in a very upsetting situation, but you are definitely need some antidepressants because being depressed sucks. Everyone deals with it differently, but I think given your situation, it would be a good idea to consider it since you're not in therapy. So, or if you are, then it's off screen. Definitely therapy might consider antidepressants if you're not gonna do therapy. But honestly, you should probably do both. Both in tandem. I'm a doctor. In front of the dormitories, as if summoned by my dark thoughts, we run into Kenji. Oh. Go away! I was having a good time, sadly sitting on the worry tree. Without you. It feels very odd seeing him outside breathing fresh outdoor air. At least it's already dusk. I partially expect Kenji would disintegrate upon direct exposure to the sun. Kenji himself seems very insecure as well, standing around looking like he's waiting for something, but doesn't know himself what it might be. Hey Kenji, what are you doing? Oh no. Get away from her! Get away from her, Kenji! Hello. Who are you? It's me, Hisao. I'm not sure if you know Tezuka from class 3-4. From his face, I can see that not only he doesn't know Rin, but also can't see her from the short distance. Oh. Sup, dudes? Kenji sticks his hand enthusiastically forward, almost straight into Ren's stomach. Ren looks at his outstretched hand in confusion until Kenji clears his throat and retracts the hand. There is something almost cool that he manages to do with social awkwardness. It's not like I'm the most suave man on the planet, but I don't think I'll ever be I'll ever be able to even approach Kenji's level. I think I respect Kenji a little bit more. I think if you respect Kenji at all, that's a problem. So you're waiting for someone? Kenji! Listen, dude! Get away from me! He leans closer and lowers his voice to an agitated whisper. I see his facial muscles twitching. Come on, man. You know I can't talk about this stuff here in public. They might be listening. I'm going to have to go pick up some stuff from somewhere. And I don't want those snooping student council hags to get on my case. Also, I don't trust your friend. Nothing personal. Are you sure he's trustworthy? I briefly consider Kenji about Ren's gender, but as it might end up badly for one or both of them, I decide against it. I would too. No need to correct it. It's not gonna really matter to him. Yeah, I'm sure. He turns from me to Ren, and I immediately get the feeling that I have to prevent them from talking to each other with whatever means necessary. However, there's little I can do now, apart from physical violence. In that case, would you be interested in knowing about the worst threat to mankind since they invented vegetarianism? Okay. He sounds like a vacuum cleaner salesman. I thought it was Sunday. I see, you're not in the know. Yeah, man. I'm talking about man-eating cows here. Very few people know what I know, so I'm not surprised. We can't talk here, but if you'd like a pamphlet, come to my room after curfew on Mondays or Wednesdays. He suddenly reaches to his pocket and draws out a ballpoint pen and what looks like a convenience store receipt. Kenji furiously scribbles on the scrap of paper and then thrusts it towards Ren. Here's the password. Memorize it and then eradicate any trace of this document. Eat it, burn it, dissolve it in acid, whatever. I take the receipt from Kenji as Ren is unable to do so and glance at it. It's indeed a receipt, apparently for 2 rice balls and 5 boxes of matches. Okay. Okay. I hope he is not planning to burn anything down. On the other side is written just one word. Honey muffin. I show it to Rin too, but she shows no reaction. Thank you. Yo, Hisao. You still in that club? The Club of Dark Arts? Fine art? Anyway, yeah, actually, just had a meeting today. Still got your wits about you? No shady mind tricks going on? Nothing personal, man, but I have to be on top of things. Can't get caught with my pants down. Speaking of which, you should really take showers a bit later. Gotta respect that personal space. Nothing personal. You don't... Sir? You gonna talk to me about personal space when you will get within an inch of my face? Kenji looks around as if he heard something and then straightens his jacket. Okay, I gotta scoot now before it gets too late. Later, dudes. Good luck. Kenji takes off rapidly towards the main gate. Ren looks after him, frowning. We watch after Kenji's diminishing figure in silence. What's wrong with him? You know, I don't know, Ren. That is the good, valid question that I don't have an answer to. I am sorry, I wish I could tell you. Technically speaking, I think he's legally blind. Oh, I see. Do 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 do. Yeah. Do 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 do. Okay, what is this? I won't know, but I'll know next time, because we are leaving it off here. This is what I'm used to, this long stretch of stuff. So we will play again next time and see what this letter is all about. It has my name on it. Actually, I'm not sure. I know that, or I guess I don't really know. I assume, if I remember correctly, that first kanji symbol is Naka. So I think that's to me. So yeah, I will see everyone in the next video.